All right, it is now time for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Now, this is a very interesting franchise because, well, for me, of course, going into these reviews, you not really being the horror fanatic, but I've definitely brought you around for sure, going through all these franchises. But with this one in particular, I know it's not considered to be as big as like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. It's like a notch just below those. It's like right at that B list, I would say, of the horror slashes, but still well known, of course, Leatherface and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm not as well versed with this franchise as a lot of those other ones. So this is relatively fresh for me going into these later films in particular. Only ones I had seen prior was the remake as like a video rental, and like the prequel of that a couple of years later. But I had seen the original of this a few years back, and even the second one I had only watched like one time, and even that was still fairly recent up until now. So, just to start things off, walking away from the original film from 1974, how did you feel about this one?
Um, it was. Uh, uh, well, I don't know. I mean, you can definitely tell it was from back then because the feel of the film, and I
Mm-hmm.
know it wasn't an extremely high budget or anything, obviously, and special effects weren't really all that much of a big thing, but you can feel that it's older. I mean, just by the way, the way the camera captured everything, and obviously by the way the people look. There's definitely a 70s look, but it was, well, I mean, it was good, but I'm not saying it was like really really like good, one of my absolute favorite movies. It was
Mm-hmm.
obviously good because it was the start of what became another franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Um and yeah, it was really bizarre, especially towards the end, and it gave me the heebie-jeebies for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, see, the thing about this original film in particular, especially with this recent viewing, as many would put it, is that this film, especially, I mean, even predating like Halloween and stuff, it was early 70s, of course, very low budget, very like raw looking film out in the middle of nowhere in Texas. So, of course, that lends itself well to the feeling of the film, what it's meant to be. Uh, is that it feels very almost like documentary-esque, as some would say, because it just feels like very raw.
Yeah,
Some would
or an
even say
old
like,
family video.
yeah, or like a
Yeah.
snuff film type of deal where it just feels like, it's especially with the plot, like they really go like this one is very simplified. Like I would describe like even like Halloween and the original Friday the 13th as like simplified, just pretty straightforward. You have someone out there attacking some kids, and that's basically it. You just have all the conflict there, and occurrences and killings and stuff. This one feels even more simplified than that because there really isn't a whole lot, honestly, to these characters. It's just kind of like randomly you get their narration at the beginning, and then you just kind of like thrown into this thing with this van with these kids to just driving along, pick up a hitchhiker. He's weird as hell. You're like, what the f is up with this dude? And then next thing you know, they find the house and just like shit starts going down. And so, like I said, it's just very much like just this chunk of like this event. It just kind of just dropped into. It's just like, oh well, and then we're just like going on from there. So, like I said, it's not really like a whole lot of heavy-handed plotting or narrative, so to speak. It's just this occurrence, just this little event that occurs, and that of course plays into the narration where it starts off what you got in like the Blair Witch, like later on, like in what was it, like 99, 2000 when that came out, where it just feels like this where they kind of want you to kind of almost buy into the fact that it feels real, like almost like this happened. You look at the narrations, like, oh, this is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this stuff happened, and so like I said, it just plays into that real raw vibe. And so, like I said, it's a very simplified slasher film in that regard. And so, like I said, there's just not really a whole lot there. It's just you're just in for it, these kids, and it's like, holy crap, what is going on here? And so, how would you feel? Do you feel the same way, kind of?
Um, well, I mean, you had the narration intro
Mm-hmm.
text crawl thing, and it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, even the way the narrator was speaking
Mm-hmm.
was, kind of lent itself to the creepiness. But I mean, just it didn't really get weird until the hitchhiker. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was definitely weird. And then they continue on to you know, the house owned by Franklin's family, whatever. Like, oh, it's like a creepy abandoned house. But then you go out back and they're gonna go to the swimming hole, and that's when it got, weird. It really
Mm-hmm.
dove into the movie because I'm like, well, it's not really a lot going on,
Yeah.
and then things went from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you don't even really get the first appearance of Leatherface until like midway through. It's just like the one guy, he's in the house, and then he just appears out of that doorway, and he
Yeah,
has the hammer, which is very much an iconic moment. It just he raises up and beats him right in the head, and then dude is just like convulsing like crazy and shit, which adds to the disturbing nature and look and feel of this film. Is that again just how it plays into a certain rawness, like I said, that you get more with this than opposed to most of the other slashers. It just feels like holy hell, like this is really happening almost. Like I said, it was just
yeah. Could this really have happened?
oh yeah, yeah. Like I
Yeah,
said, it just plays into a certain realism, which is very interesting when you see that and stuff. And so that's one of the more disturbing things. He just gets hits in the head. He just hits him again, pulls him back, slams the door, which I like because it's very reminiscent of like the ending of the first Saw movie. Kind of like I said, it's just like
yeah.
that
No,
nice
well,
door
since
slam,
since
that
you
iconic
mentioned
moment.
that, yeah,
It plays into that, and that just makes for a great moment right there. And like that just immediately just sets the tone for the rest of the film. It's just like, what the hell did we step into with this thing? And so, like I said, from there, it's just like, yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, you're just having them getting chased all around the house and everything. Like the one girl, he gets her, then puts her on a hook and stuff, and you just imagine like just that hook just digging through your back and stuff, and you're just hung up. You just don't know, you can't do anything at all. It's just insane, just the way it's all executed and stuff. Like it just plays into a very disturbing nature of, like I said, of just how, like I said, you could actually be out there, especially back in the day where no technology, no phones, no nothing. The shit goes down, you're helpless. No one can do anything about it. You're just like, well, fuck.
yeah,
And so yes, I just and the one guy, the Franklin guy in the wheelchair and all that stuff, he gets it pretty bad too towards the end, like out in the woods in the dark. They're running out there, and then just the chainsaw just going through him and shit. He's just like, it just some crazy ass imagery, like I said.
yeah.
And so I just, again, for again, watching it, just there really is. It's a hard way to kind of summarize it in certain ways, like I said, because there isn't a whole lot there. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because again, what this film is and what it's going for, it's just like I said, just this,
It's
just
literally a doc documenting the event that occurred,
yeah, like I
like
said,
a
it just. Mm.
mockumentary.
Yeah, exactly. I just, especially towards the end where she's tied up at the table, you have the whole family. That's when you
Oh,
realize it's like these people are just cannibals. They're just batshit insane, and it's
mm,
just like, again, just how raw it actually feels. Like imagine just being there as helpless as she was, tied to that chair, and you just got all these people losing their damn minds. You got one dude just wearing people's faces and shit, and it's like just eating each other. I'm like, you like just to be in that situation, like yeah, that would be some rough shit to have to go through. But by the end, I mean she escapes. I mean, and it's a very very fast paced, very just crazy ending where she manages to get out the house. She's running away. Leatherface is chasing her, and then she manages to make it out to the main road. A trucker shows up. He stops and pulls over. He gets out of the truck and shit. And like I said, Leatherface is just chasing both of them, just like all around here and shit.
That was pretty
And then you just
funny.
get another truck coming up. She just jumps in that shit. She's like, "Go, go, go!" And it's just like it it's just it feels so random and so crazy, but like it just plays into like this weird realistic nature of it all, just like how crazy, just when stuff is going down, you don't know what to do, you're just trying to get away, dude's chasing you, and again it's just rolling, and that's it. And it feels very random, but like I said, it plays into the rawness and just madness of the ending. And I know you felt like it was a weird ending, in which it, like I said, it kind of is, but at the same time it just plays
Yeah.
into what this film is. It's just
Yeah, that I suppose I guess if I was in that situation I would probably would be acting like that too, but
yeah.
yeah, it was just a cornucopia of weird.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I just feel like this one, it doesn't have like a heavy rewatchability. Like I can't sit there and casually watch this one as often as like say one of the Halloween films or Friday
The original
13th.
Halloween.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
no, yeah,
but like I
no
said, it's
knock
not
against
taken
it.
yeah, it's not taken away from it. It just has a certain way about it to where it's just like it's one of those ones, it's harder to have like a more casual viewing as opposed to, your average slasher film that's out there, those sequels and stuff like that. It's just like every now and again, like every few months maybe or something, especially around Halloween or whatever. Like I said, it's just a very particularly interesting film, and like I said, just this event, this occurrence, and it's just you take it in, you're just like, damn, that happened, and then you're just, so all in all, any last thoughts about it?
It's definitely one of the classics. On like the Mount Rushmore of the horror guys, it'd probably have to be up there.
Hmm.
I mean, the mountain would get pretty big with all the franchises, but you got the main three, and then he'd probably be the fourth one,
Yeah, I mean,
and
someone
there
could
you go.
pick and choose like that. It could be that or
Yeah,
Ghostface or even
rotate.
Chucky, depending on where you want to go with it. But
Well, yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
we
was
know
gonna
that.
say.
Yeah,
That mountain would get
yeah, I
huge.
mean, we know the top three. They're like the apex of it all, but yeah, he's right up there. Of course, like I said, he's probably just like it's just a notch below that because, like I said, he's not as big. And like I said, even the franchise as a whole, which we'll get into, it's very odd, but yeah, but it's up there for sure. I'd give it,
Mm,
like I said, I'd give it a solid 4. Like I said, it's a very intriguing film. It definitely set a certain bar at the time, and like I said, it's just a very interesting and particular film it is definitely a stepping stone for the horror genre and
yeah,
stuff.
it
So,
was uh, bizarre, almost realistic, like the original Halloween a few years later. Like,
hmm,
well, that he could really be out there. It could have really happened.
yeah,
So that's what I liked about it.
yeah. I mean, because the way the original Halloween, it feels very real, but of course, it's also very thematic. Like it's very well thought out.
Yeah.
With the music and everything. This has a very big like lack of music. It's mostly like you hear cowbells and stuff and other weird sounds and stuff. Like I said, it just has a certain rawness to it that you didn't really need a lot of that. It just again it just plays into this particular style of what this film is, and
Yeah,
it
like
just
like I was saying, like a family vacation found footage documentary all twirled into one bizarre package.
yeah, pretty much. All right, so that'll do it for our review of the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We will be back for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.